time, February 2025. Only 6 Premier League bosses actually held the official title of manager rather than head coach. Man City's Pep Guardiola, David Moyes of Everton, Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna, Southampton's Ivan Juric, Oliver Glasner at Crystal Palace and Leicester's Ruud van Nistelrooy were the only actual managers of their respective teams. Everyone else? That's right, head coach, including Ruben Amorim at Man United. He took over from Erik ten Hag, a man who had held the title of manager. Might come as a surprise that Amorim's appointment marked the first time ever that Man United had a head coach instead of a manager. But to understand why they made that decision, you also have to get what the difference is between a head coach and a manager. A manager's got a huge range of responsibilities. They're not just in charge of training and player lineups, they're also heavily involved in player sales and transfers. Critical stuff. But a head coach's role is far more focused on team training and performance on the pitch. So whereas Ten Hag was highly involved with decisions around transfers during his tenure, the intention was that Amorim wouldn't be, at least not on the same level. And as the sporting structure at Man United changed under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people like Sir Dave Brailsford took charge of transfers instead. How all those roles play out in practice may be slightly different at different clubs though. On the other hand, the contracts of actual managers like Pep or Moyes had no limits on their job role and their involvement with transfers and contracts. But those guys are actually in the minority now, and it's a change that's happened pretty quickly. In 2019, there were only 6 head coaches in the Premier League, but by 2025, there were 14. A clear indication that more and more clubs are moving towards a model where the guy in charge is actually only really in charge on the pitch. And the way things are going, it might not be long before all 20 clubs have got head coaches, and the job position of football manager in the top flight is no more.
Good morning. This is the Early Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. I'm Olivia. Buzaglo, the Champions League is back. I am. Nick, I'm so excited. This is like, for me, just the fact that my team are back in the Champions League is just the best thing ever.
The little gold badge on the shirt.
Gold badge on the shirt, 2 stars.
Yeah, I mean...
Looking for a third.
It's the best football, isn't it? It's the best quality football. If you're a fan of the actual football, surely this is the best competition.
100%. The best. Nick, what have we got coming up on the show?
Yeah, so we're looking ahead to the Champions League, back on talkSPORT tonight. Do any of the English teams have a chance of winning it out of the 6? A lot of representation. They say never go back to an ex, Olivia, but Chris Wilder has gone back to Sheffield United for he's gone back for a second time. It's his 3rd stint. Yeah. And who's to blame for what's going on at Manchester United? Can Ruben Amorim turn it around? We'll get stuck into the back and front pages as well. You can get involved, as always, on the usual number, 03717 223344.
Thank you very much, Nick. Right, let's get into it, shall we? This is Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. We're, of course, building up to talkSPORT Breakfast at 6 a.m. with the rare pairing of Jeff Stelling and Ray Parlour. They're going to be taking you through until 10 a.m. Right, it is time. Fire up that anthem. The Champions League is back on talkSPORT.
These are the nights you never forget.
We can sit back, enjoy, and let the action unfold.
PSG will be the European champions for 2025.
You do wonder, don't you, and only time will tell, is this the start of a dynasty or...
Well, nobody's done European dominance like Real Madrid. They've been kings of the continent more times than any other 2 clubs put together.
Mbappe lobs it over the keeper. Oh, what a start! If anybody can do it, Liverpool can.
Salah, 1-0.
And I just think there are so many teams, I look at it, who could win it.
And Harry Kane heads Bayern Munich into an early lead. Now with a dancing footwork into the penalty area. Curling shot, magnificent! Oh, yes!
Saka, 1-0 Arsenal. Haaland is there. He taps it in, and City have 2 in 3 minutes.
I think with Pep Guardiola, I think you doubt them at your peril.
Champions League football once again for Chelsea.
You could even make the argument that they've got a better chance of winning the Champions League than they have the Premier League.
And Newcastle's memorable campaign sets up the perfect final chapter.
It's glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. The Europa League is theirs.
Stars have come out to play again in the Champions League.
If I could just have that Champions League music on repeat, I think I'd be really happy. It is the best song. Whenever I go to Champions League games, I sometimes miss kickoff if I go to like Premier League games, if I'm late or whatever. But for Champions League, I have to be in there. I have to be in there to hear that music. There is just something so special about being abroad in a foreign country at like an incredible stadium, listening to the Champions League music. And for me, I know this is maybe not controversial. However, I prefer to win the Champions League. And I say that as in I've never won the Champions League. But I prefer my team to win the Champions League. I don't know what it is. It just feels more special. And listen, you don't have to be the best team to win the Champions League. That is an absolute fact. I think last season the best team did win the Champions League, but it doesn't always work out like that. The best team always wins the Premier League, I think. Over 38 games, you are the best team, you are the most consistent. But the Champions League, anything can happen. And for me, there's just something a little bit extra special about winning the Champions League. And, you know, my team have been lucky enough to do it twice. But this season, is an English team going to win the Champions League, or can they? England have got 6 representatives in the Champions League. Of course, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Newcastle took the league spaces, and then obviously Spurs, after winning the Europa League, obviously got in as well. So do any of them have an actual chance of winning the Champions League? I mean, Arsenal obviously got knocked out in the semi-finals last season to the eventual winners, Paris Saint-Germain. I think Liverpool have always got a chance. I think Liverpool will probably be disappointed about how their Champions League run went last season. I think you heard Kevin Hatchard there in that little VT saying, you know, write City off at your peril. Under Pep Guardiola, they're capable of anything. Andy Brassel as well, you would have heard him there saying Chelsea have a better chance of winning the Champions League than the Premier League. And I completely agree with him. I think Chelsea, over the years, have just been built for knockout football. You look at, you know, when we won it in 2012, you look about, you know, we haven't won the Premier League since, 2017 was the last time Chelsea won the Premier League. And did it, you know, I think in 2012 weren't the best team, won it. I think in 2021 we were definitely one of the best teams and went on to win it. But I think we're just built for knockout football rather than winning the Premier League. But Arsenal fans, I think, like I said, obviously went out in the semi-finals last season. Can they go one step further or 2 steps further and win it this season? I think they're probably in a better position in terms of squad depth to actually go on and win the Champions League. But getting over the line in the Champions League is something, you know, not a lot of teams do. Not a lot of fans have watched their teams do it in their lifetimes. But obviously England have 6 teams in it, so can any English team win the Champions League? What do you think? And out of those 6 English teams, which team are most likely? I think you'd probably have to say Liverpool, just because of how well they did last season in terms of the league. And I think they will want to improve on how they did in the Champions League last season. This season, but obviously the league phase rather than the group stages makes it a little bit more interesting, doesn't it? But get in touch. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do Liverpool have the best chance out of the English teams? Can Arsenal win it this season? 03717223344. Now it's a first for Thomas Frank tonight as Spurs are back in the Champions League after 2 seasons away. And speaking yesterday ahead of the home tie against Villarreal, Thomas Frank spoke to talkSPORT about his personal journey from the Championship to the Champions League.
Of course, it's a fantastic opportunity or experience tomorrow. I'll call it experience tomorrow. In many ways, you say, we played with Brentford in Championship at Griffin Park, small, compact stadium, and tomorrow we are playing in one of the best stadiums in the world, if maybe the best, again, in front of our fantastic fans. It's European night. We know they will be absolutely on it. It will be so special. So, really looking forward to the first 2 minutes and the Champions League anthem, and then his focus on the game.
Yeah, Spurs going into this off the back of a 3-0 win against West Ham. And on the sports bar, Jamie O'Hara made a rather bold claim to Jason Cundy about Spurs' centre-back pairing.
Mate, I'm telling you now, Van der Ven and Romero, I'd go as far to say is the best centre-back partnership in the world right now. Why are you not saying nothing?
I'm just waiting for the laughter track.
No,
and
because Harry Howe agrees with me. Yep. He agrees with me.
Say it again, let's see if
No. They get into any team in the world right now. There's only one player who I think is probably better than them, and that's Van Dijk.
Only Van Dijk better than Van der Ven and Romero. Are we talking like in world football? This is a team that Van der Ven and Romero literally lost to Bournemouth at home about 2 weeks ago. So and apparently a 3-0 win and a clean sheet away at West Ham when West Ham had 10 men makes you the best centre-back pairing in the world. I'm not so sure I agree. Spurs fans, though, do you agree with Jamie O'Hara? Honestly, do you genuinely believe... Listen, Van der Ven and Romero are a very good partnership. I still think Gabriel and Saliba are probably better than them. I'd probably go as far as saying, Huijsen and Garcia at Real Madrid are probably better than them. Diaz and Gvardiol, are they better than them? I think there is other centre-back pairings that are probably better than Van der Ven and Romero, but they are very good. But Spurs fans, do you agree? 03717 22 get in touch. Right, well, Spurs' North London rivals Arsenal are involved in tonight's early kick-off. They're away at Athletic Club in Bilbao. Skipper Martin Odegaard is added to the Gunners' injury list after suffering a recurrence of his shoulder problem in their recent 3-0 win over Nottingham Forest. He's joined Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus on the sidelines. Ben White is another player that's picked up a problem. Meanwhile, Mikel Arteta was asked if he feels more pressure because Arsenal are one of the biggest clubs yet to win the Champions League.
Well, that tells you with our long history how difficult it is because we haven't won it yet. And that's the opportunity. That's how I see it. The pressure is the opportunity that thrives. That energy, that willingness to be better every single day, to make decisions that are in that direction. And every decision, then if we win not that much, every decision has to be with that standards and with those expectations. And let's give our best chance to try to do it.
Well, I think it's safe to say Mikel Arteta needs to win something this season, and I think most Arsenal fans would probably agree. He's been at the club for a long while now. It's just an FA Cup. I think the last one was back in 2020. They actually beat Chelsea in that final. But is this it for Mikel Arteta? Is it now or never? I thought last season should have been their season to win the Premier League. They pushed City all the way the season before. City then fell off a cliff and they didn't capitalise. Liverpool went on and won it pretty comfortably. We've all been speaking about a striker being the missing piece. They've now got Victor Gyökeres, who started the season pretty well. So does this have to be Arsenal's season? And does it have to be one of the big trophies? Are we talking a Premier League or a Champions League here? Is an FA Cup going to be enough for Arsenal fans to go, OK, yeah, let's stick with Mikel Arteta? On kick-off, Darren Lewis debated whether questions need to be asked of Arteta if he doesn't win something this year.
I think Arsenal fans now say, look, he's been backed. We've got Gyökeres, a striker we've been craving. We've brought in someone who can help Saka out on the right, an England international. You've brought in Eza, who's better than what they've got.
Yeah.
Brilliant central midfielder they've brought in to replace Partey. And they've even gone and got two outstanding centre-halves to cover the two.
But Danny, come on. I'm the media man here. I'm supposed to be the one putting the pressure on. You're the footballer. You know how this works. Only one team can win the league.
Yeah, but there is going to be a higher expectation. I think that's absolutely
right. If he doesn't win the league, are you really going to say,
he's got to win something,
the guy who has transformed this football club in terms of discipline, consistency, the way we're viewed off the pitch, all of the other things that go alongside having a team capable to compete for the title. Are you really going to say he shouldn't still be the manager?
I hear you on that. And I've always been an advocate of not judging managers on trophies, more progression, depending on the club. But ultimately, Arsenal now, because of the fan base and the so close that they've got recently, I think the expectation is silverware. And if he fails, even unluckily, there'll be a clamour.
Yeah, that was Darren Lewis and Danny Murphy debating on whether Mikel Arteta needs to win something this season. I mean, even Spurs won something last season. Newcastle won something last season. Palace won something last season. I think for Arsenal, like how long do we carry on going with this progression thing? Yeah, okay, we know Mikel Arteta has done a brilliant job getting Arsenal to where they are, but are you okay with just finishing second? When are we going to start talking about winning trophies? You're Arsenal Football Club. You're not Palace. You're not. Do you know what I mean? You are one of the biggest clubs in this country, and you've won an FA Cup since 2020. We're nearly going into 2026. Like, is that enough for Arsenal fans? And I know obviously you have like a connection to Mikel Arteta as well. And, you know, he has done a great job getting Arsenal to where they are now. But surely he has to be judged on winning stuff, because it's a different type of... Getting a team over the line is so difficult when the team hasn't won anything. Like, this team hasn't won anything. Together, they've won pretty much nothing. It changes your whole mentality if you can win a Premier League. I mean, even if you can win an FA Cup, just getting that winning mentality, which currently Arsenal have to a certain extent, but it's a different kind of winning mentality when you're actually winning trophies. 03717 22 33 44. Arsenal fans, I would love to hear from you. Like I said, is it now or never for Mikel Arteta? And does it have to be one of the big two? Do you have to go and win the Premier League or the Champions League this season? And if not, then what happens to Mikel Arteta? Are you happy with him carrying on? And we just talking about Arsenal progressing? But it seems like you're progressing from, you know, second to second each year. There, you know, you've got to get over the line at some point. And is Mikel Arteta the man to do that? Athletic Club versus Arsenal is live on talkSPORT 2 from 5 p.m. today. Right, we're going to take a little break now, but afterwards we're going to look at the back pages, and we might be talking, should you go back to an ex? good morning. I'm Olivia Buzaglo, and this is the Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux. Get a tailor-made quote for your commercial vehicle. Search Adrian Flux. Insurance for the individual. We are building up to talkSPORT Breakfast. It's Jeff Stelling back this Tuesday morning. Alongside him is Ray Parlour. Some of your headlines then this morning. Jamie Vardy has made his debut in Serie A for promoted Cremonese. Came off the bench in the 58th minute in a 0-0 draw with Hellas Verona. Vardy's teammates was in drinking Red Bull on the bench. Swedish pole vaulter Mondo Duplantis says winning a third consecutive title at the World Athletics Championships was better than he could have ever imagined. He went on to clear 6.3 metres and break the world record for a 14th time. And there are 4 race meetings today. They go at Redcar, Uttoxeter, Wolverhampton and Yarmouth. For more on all these stories, you can visit talksport.com. Right, I mentioned it just before the break if you were listening. The big question is, well, actually, I'm not going to say never go back to an ex. That is what they always say, never go back to an ex. I mean, I can't relate. Actually, no, I can relate. I've never been back to an ex. I know Nick, who's going to come in and look at the back pages. Nick's been back to an ex and he didn't go very well. But he's not the only one. Because David Moyes went back to an ex, although it's worked out pretty well for him. Darren Ferguson went back to an ex. Jose Mourinho, when he came back the second time to Chelsea, worked a treat, won the Premier League. Now Chris Wilder is back at Sheffield United. I mean, he's back there for a third time. He was only sacked in June. That was obviously after they lost the playoff final to Sunderland. Ruben Selles was then announced as the Sheffield United manager. I mean, in the Championship, it's played 5, lost 5, bottom of the league. So he was obviously sacked after that start. And a statement from Sheffield United said, following a difficult start to the season, the board felt it necessary to make a change in order to stabilise performances and strengthen our push for promotion. While the adoption of a different style of play was pursued with ambition, results have clearly not met expectations. Sheffield United writer at the Sheffield Star, Danny Hall, told talkSPORT Wilder will put smiles on faces again.
During his first 2 spells, listen, they had bad games. They got beaten, and they got beaten up sometimes in the Premier League and in the Championship. But what you knew is that when they went out and crossed that white line, you knew what you were going to get from that Sheffield United team. You knew the sort of non-negotiables that he demands, and you knew that they would be there. Whether you get the result or not, sometimes there's a bounce of a ball, sometimes an opposition player, as we saw on Friday night, can have a day out of it. But you know what you're going to get from your team. And that's what I think he will bring back. And I think that's what United have gone away from. Watching them this season, and you think this is not a recognisable Sheffield United team that I've been seeing, for most of my life. And that, even you guys from the outside will recognise what makes a Sheffield United team tick. And I think they've gone too far away from that. And again, I'll go back to the point of, if you need to get that back in an instant, in a stroke, there's no better man to do that than Chris Wilder, just from the non-negotiables, what he demands from them, what he'll be telling them, the messages he'll be getting into them now. And like I said, just getting smiles back on faces. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, if there was one appointment that was going to get the Sheffield United fans back on side, it's definitely Chris Wilder. I mean, literally got sacked in June after losing the playoff final. But I mean, I look at Coventry, and when Frank Lampard came in November, I think it was last year, they were 17th, flirting with relegation, and then he got them into the playoffs and very nearly promoted to the Premier League. So it's a long old season. I think Sheffield United have probably made the decision at the right time. I mean, I think it was a bit crazy sacking him in the first place. But anyway, they've made the decision. They hired Ruben Selles. They've now sacked him. Chris Wilder is back. So what does that mean for Sheffield United? I'd love you to get in touch if there's any Sheffield United fans out there. 03717 2233 44 that are listening to Early Breakfast this morning. Is the playoffs back on the cards then, now that Chris Wilder is back? And was that the right decision? I feel like most of you are going to say yes. Sheffield United's next game is at home to Charlton, live on talkSPORT 2 this Saturday afternoon. Can they get their first win of the season? Right, time now to get into the back pages with Nick Ellaby. Nick.
Hello.
You went back to an ex?
Yeah, twice. And
Twice?
do you know, it was my fault. I shouldn't. When you go back, you realise why you broke up in the first place. Obviously, with Chris Wilder at Sheffield United, he was let go. I think he didn't want to go. Slightly different situation there. I also wish Chris Wilder all the best. And Joe Root, I'm sure, will be very happy as well with that decision. He's a massive Sheffield United fan.
I think he won't be the only one as well.
Big story, quite a serious one, but I think worth touching on. The Hillsborough Law, which has long been campaigned for, is passing through Parliament today. It's expected to go straight through. There are two bits of legislation that are important. One is the government want to make it kind of legal for public officials and authorities to prevent cover-ups, to be honest with the public. And obviously we saw around that game at Hillsborough in 1989 when 97 Liverpool fans lost their lives, the authorities, the police and even the press propagating lies about football fans, which led to just the compounding of that tragedy. And also legal representation, publicly funded legal representation for bereaved families at inquests. A lot of those families felt there was a real kind of inequality in the quality of the lawyers that the authorities and the police were able to pay for, and those families as well. So fingers crossed that law is just going to go straight through Parliament, pretty much getting passed today. Another one that caught my eye, I mean, this is unreal, right? I thought the football season started early this year, but apparently the EFL are considering next season putting the Carabao Cup forward to the first weekend of August. But actually, if there's a Friday kickoff, that will mean the EFL season will kick off in July, 31st of July.
No. Obviously the EFL season already kicks off sooner than the Premier League season anyway, but that just seems absolutely ridiculous.
I tell you the maddest thing, right? The English cricket sort of flagship competition, the 100, is in August. So you've got the football season kicking off before the ECB's major cricket competition, potentially. I mean, it happened this year, completely insane.
No.
But what they're saying is, like, obviously there's a kind of emerged 3-week international break next year.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to impact those Carabao Cup games, especially for the teams that are in Europe. Also, the World Cup final, I think, would be 12 days before the 31st of July. So you'd have the World Cup final, 12 days, and then the EFL season starts with Carabao Cup, potentially. And also, clubs worried about those lucrative pre-season tours, for example, out to East Asia or whatever. So obviously a lot of the big clubs are going to be unhappy about that as well.
I mean, and rightly so, I think.
Absolutely mad. Benfica possibly giving Ruben Amorim an out. So there's a guy called João Noronha Lopes who's the favourite to become the new president. They've got elections in Benfica on October the 25th. He was at the Manchester derby. He saw how Amorim was not really having a great time. Amorim played a lot of games for Benfica. He played in midfield. He also played in their youth academy. And this guy, Noronha Lopes, was asked about bringing Ruben Amorim into Benfica. He said, look, Ruben is the coach of Manchester United. I can't answer that question. He told Portuguese media, one thing I know, Ruben Amorim will be the coach of Benfica one day.
One day?
So if it's not now...
Will that be any time soon?
I mean, could be before Christmas at this rate.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's got Benfica in his blood, Ruben Amorim. He was there for a long, long time. Really nice little story, this. Fingers crossed, Tino Asprilla helps, Newcastle this week. Newcastle have asked their 90s Colombian legend to try and attend the game against Barcelona on Thursday. That's going to be a massive game at St James's Park. Asprilla obviously scored a hat-trick in 1997 when Newcastle beat Barcelona 3-2. And do you know what Asprilla's doing now?
I have no idea what Asprilla's doing now.
He's selling flavoured condoms in Colombia. He's also got a sugarcane farm as well. So he's...
Sorry, that is not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting.
He's got his fingers in a lot of business pies.
Clearly.
Apparently, Asprilla was doing all he can to be there on Thursday, and I, for one, would love to see him in the crowd. What a player.
Yeah. I mean, St James's Park is going to be rocking.
Yeah, so last year we had Villa back, and then when they played Bayern Munich at Villa Park, the atmosphere was, and I think potentially this game on Thursday could just take it up a little notch from there.
No Lamine Yamal as well.
Yeah, right.
Great chance for Nick Voltemada.
Yeah, Rashford's going to have to do the business.
Yeah, I wonder if he will. Thank you very
much,
Nick. That was a look at today's back pages. This is the Early Breakfast on talkSPORT. Up next, we'll take a closer look at Ruben Amorim at Manchester United. Can he turn it around, or will he be off to Benfica? And Nick will be looking at the front pages as well.
football ground are you thinking of when someone says this?
Really tough place to go. Difficult place to go. Such a tough place to go.
It's a tough place to go at the moment.
It was a really difficult place to go.
But what are the toughest places to go, really? We've had a look. Forget a cold, wet Tuesday night in Stoke. Try a blizzard 220 miles inside the Arctic Circle. When Chelsea lost at Tromsø in Norway in the Cup Winners' Cup, a massive snowstorm hit at half-time. These two boys and their brooms were absolutely no match for it. We're staying in Scandinavia for Scotland's toughest away day on the side of a cliff in the Faroe Islands in Euro 2000 qualifying. The pitch at Toftir was like a cowfield, never mind those gale force winds. The Faroe Islands part-timers equalised in stoppage time. Cue Scandi scenes. But away trips don't come tougher than playing Bolivia at altitude in La Paz. Or so we thought. The Bolivians have now taken home advantage to another level, literally 500 metres further up the Andes to the country's highest city, El Alto, 4,100 metres above sea level. Meanwhile, the loudest stadium in world football officially is the Ali Sami Yen, where Galatasaray fans set a world record of 131 decibels. That's louder than Motorhead. But our most intimidating away day is in Wales. Prison team HMP Prescoed was briefly kicked out the Gwent League over concerns about young opposition having to go in there. Now that's a tough place to go.
Good morning, happy Tuesday. I'm Olivia Buzaglo. I'm with you until 6 a.m. Then you're in the hands of Jeff Stelling and Ray Parlour for talkSPORT Breakfast. We're talking about the return of the Champions League. It's my favourite competition. I love it. It's Thomas Frank's first game in the competition later. Spurs host Villarreal.
It's a big thing. I'm hugely looking forward to it. I know it'll be special when we have that Champions League anthem being playing. That will be the moment. Now is preparation, a few more cameras, but that, you know, business as usual. But when we walk out to the pitch tomorrow, that will be special.
Yeah, it will be. Spurs fans, how do you reckon you're going to get on in the Champions League this season? How are you feeling about it? Are you confident? Has your start to the season given you more confidence? Give us a call, 03717 22 3344. This is the Early Sports Breakfast with Adrian Flux, the cover you need at a price you'll love with Watvan's Insurer of the Year 2021. You can find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Right, some of the headlines you're waking up to this Tuesday morning. After producing EFL Cup shocks in round 2, Sheffield Wednesday and Grimsby go head-to-head for the chance to reach the 4th round tonight. There's a London derby between Crystal Palace and Millwall at Selhurst Park. Brentford host Villa, which is live on talkSPORT 2 tonight. Surrey's cricketers will hope to take command of their top-of-the-table clash against Nottinghamshire in the County Championship today. The defending champions resume on 43 for 1 after dismissing their opponents for 231 in the first innings yesterday. And Emma Raducanu will be hoping her decision to focus on individual ranking points pays off when she plays in the first round of the Korea Open. She decided to take a wild card for that instead of representing Britain at the Billie Jean King Cup. For more on all the day's biggest stories, you can visit talksport.com. Now, let's get into it. Ruben Amorim is having an absolute mare, I think, to say the least, at Manchester United. And talkSPORT can't get enough of this story.
This is diabolical from Man United.
The fact morale at Old Trafford amongst the staff has never been so low.
If we didn't score that last gasp penalty against Burnley, which is our only win this season in all competitions, and if we lose to Chelsea at the weekend, which I expect us to do so, we will be in the relegation zone.
I think he's trapped
in that Sporting Lisbon success. This is how I'm going to implement this here.
I don't see the system as you guys see the system, so I will try to do my job.
I don't understand what you're watching at times from a mighty club like Manchester United. It's shocking.
He's the worst start in the league since 1992-93 season. He hasn't won 2 games in a row yet.
To some extent, the manager has to take a huge amount of responsibility for sitting in a place where you've made things worse.
Sometimes we are a little bit naive in the approach that we have, but I saw some games that sometimes we can run faster, but they try.
Factually, the worst manager that Manchester United have had.
Amorim sticking to his style at all costs has made United even worse.
But Old Trafford is fast becoming the theatre of broken dreams.
God, yeah, it's not good for Ruben Amorim. Because I said on the show yesterday, I really like him. So it's really, they haven't got better, they haven't progressed. But it doesn't just feel like it's just Ruben Amorim. It feels like everything is going wrong at Old Trafford, on the pitch, off the pitch, everything. So what needs to change or be fixed? And I suppose who is the person to do it? Simon Jordan isn't sure Amorim is the man to turn things around.
I mean, we are now coming up to the point where the fella's been in situ for nearly a year, and it is staggering, really. I mean, I know that we'll talk about the idea that systems are being deployed are making the difference, and so I don't agree with that. I think perhaps the players that are being bought and the players that are out in the field aren't good enough to play in any bloody system. But also, to some extent, the manager has to take a huge amount of responsibility for sitting in a place where you've made things worse. Now, if he thinks things are getting better and he can see the changes and that eventually he's going to land on solid ground, then fair play to him and fair play to the board supporting him in that vision.
Yeah.
But these are hard moments for United because if the fans are supporting Amorim, I'd like to know why. And not because I don't want him to be supported, but because in this world where people do not get supported, Russell Martin's walked into Glasgow Rangers, had 7 or 8 games, they want him out.
Yeah.
The United guys, he seems to be getting a pass.
Yes.
Goes past Co, collects 200 quid, goes round again.
Well, there's also been a bit of criticism aimed at Bruno Fernandes as well recently, but Troy Deeney says he's not the problem and he needs to play in his natural position.
Fernandes' talk is really frustrating for me because it's like, okay, we played him as a 10, that mean it's better. But clearly, he doesn't think he can do the work as a 10. And clearly, if you're the captain and you're the one who has all the say, you've scored a lot of goals that year, he has the right to knock the door and say, hold on, Gaffer, I don't want to play as an 8. Put me as a 10. In pre-season, by the way, not now. And now it's going a bit wrong. It's Fernandes is the problem. It's not. It's just the fact they've got no legs in that midfield, in that holding midfield.
Yeah, no legs in the midfield. That has been a problem for a while for Manchester United. And following the Manchester derby, Ali McCoy thinks United's defence just isn't up to it either.
I don't necessarily think their greatest problems are in forward areas. I still think, they've not got the balance right in the middle of the park. And I just thought I really thought the back three get bullied, particularly Shaw a little bit, get bullied and kind of switched off yesterday. I mean, I think it was the second goal. Was it the second goal or the first goal? First goal he dinks over the goalkeeper. I'm looking at it, and there's Doku is too strong for Mazraoui, and then Haaland is far too strong for Shaw, and it just seemed to be happening all over the pitch for United. I just think they've got. Do you know what they look like, Jeff? They just look like a bang average Premier League team. That's what they look like, and that's the way it's going to be for them, I think, for the foreseeable future.
So what we've just heard, the problem at Manchester United is the defence, the midfield. I mean, the striker situation isn't great. The manager, the owners, everything. Manchester United fans, give us a call. What needs to change to fix this whole situation? Because there is a lot going on, a lot going wrong. 03717 223344. We heard Ruben Amorim spoke about his system and that's not the problem, but that just takes me back to Ange Postecoglou, who was so adamant in his ways at Spurs, and the writing was on the wall. Look what happened there. If you don't have the players to fit your system, how can you still keep on playing that system? It doesn't make sense. Surely you have to adapt with the players that you've got. You have to be able to switch it up. Manchester United obviously face Chelsea this weekend. Right, time now for the front pages with Nick.
It's a front page throwdown.
Oh, what a move!
The front page is first on the early sports breakfast.
Talk Sport.
Right.
Hello again.
What have you got?
I'd like to start with a question, right? Do you ever tell just a sort of random lie for no reason at all?
Like what?
I don't know. I think I used to do it in school, right? A little bit. When someone was like, "Have you seen that film?" I'd be like,
yeah. Actually, no, that's a lie. Yeah, I have done that. I like, you know, when just like, oh my God, do you remember that clip from... Like, that's a very, very good example. Like, oh my God, do you remember that clip from that scene? And you're like, oh my God, yeah.
No, and then they ask you about it, you're like, yeah.
I can't remember, I haven't seen it yet. It was ages ago I watched it.
That's a while ago now. Apparently, Brits fib about telly to appear cool and clever. It says here, Brits lie about enjoying highbrow crime thrillers, historical biopics and period dramas to appear more cultured. A whopping 78% of the nation think there's a societal pressure to like TV shows because they're popular as well.
I love a true crime. Anything true crime, and that is not a lie. Everyone knows I'm obsessed.
Same.
Like reading books, I like.
New to the podcast as well?
Listen, I am a book reader, I'm a podcast listener, I'm a TV, everything to do with true crime is a bit me.
It's so good. I mean, you can tell on Netflix how popular it is, but it says here that many Brits are lying about these intellectually stimulating programmes they're watching. Actually, their true favourites include Bergerac, Call the Midwife, and Gavin and Stacey.
Oh, Gavin and Stacey's elite. Just quickly, have you watched Unknown Number on Netflix?
No, I don't think so. Tell me about that.
Watch it. I'm not going to ruin it because if people haven't watched it, it's basically like I suppose it's like true crime in a way. It's like a catfish documentary, and it's
someone getting calls from a number they don't know.
Yeah, so they get called and they get abuse, they get death threats, it's all kinds of abuse to this one girl and her boyfriend and.
In the States,
and it is the most mind-blowing, like when you work out the person who did it,
right?
It is like jaw-dropping.
Emma Kerwin on News was telling me about that programme. She loves it as well.
Oh my gosh.
That's a double recommendation. So I'm going to sit down with the wife and watch that this weekend. Also, what meat do you have at Christmas in your family?
Turkey, but it's always really dry.
It's horrible, isn't it?
I don't know why we do it, and I don't think it's just my mum. Like, no offense to my mother, because she's an alright cook.
Big shout out to Buzaglo.
Big shout out to Rita. But yeah, turkey's just dry and
We haven't had it for probably 20 years.
What do you have? Chicken?
We kind of have a rotating cast of meats.
What's it this year?
I don't know actually. I don't think we're getting together this year. But we've had goose, we've had beef, we've had.
I don't know if I could have beef on Christmas Day.
My mum did one of those turduckens. Do you know where you put a bird inside a bird inside a bird? Like 4 different birds, one in each other. Never had swan. Maybe could go for that. But apparently the turkey supplies have been hit by a perfect storm of bird flu and crazy weather. So turkey could be in short supply this year.
Thank God.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. Chicken, just chicken. I'm gonna say to my mum this year, let's just have chicken.
What's wrong with a nice bit of chicken?
You can't go wrong. You actually can't.
Before I go, very quickly, childhood silliness is good for you. You seem like a person that's young at heart, laughing a lot, taking yourself not too seriously, top signs of being young at heart, and it's actually good for your health as well. The top 3 things: not taking yourself seriously, laughing easily, and dancing without caring. And experts say helps keeps you young.
Yeah,
practical
love that.
jokes.
I do also get told I giggle too much though. I've got a real bad problem with especially when I'm on air. If I get the giggles, I can't stop. And like if someone looks at me and I'm laughing, I'm out.
If it's genuine though, it's infectious.
I was recording the Inside Chelsea podcast for talkSPORT yesterday, and Jason Cundy called PGMOL Pogmole, and I for a solid like a minute and a half, like thank God him and Matisse were talking because I was just giggling away to I kept saying it was like Pogmole. Is that a thing?
There's nothing funnier than
someone mispronouncing it.
Also that, but people corpsing. I think it's one of the funniest things. It's infectious. So don't stop, Olivia. Carry
brilliant. Thank you very much, Nick. You're listening to Early Sports Breakfast with me, Olivia Buzaglo. Up next, we're giving you the chance to see Oasis at Wembley and win 25 grand. Don't go anywhere. Olivia Buzaglo, and you are listening to the Early Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. I'm really just listening to any Oasis song makes me so sad that I haven't actually been to see them. But this is your chance to win £25,000 and tickets to see Oasis at Wembley on Saturday, the 27th of September. This Friday, we're going to be calling 2 lucky listeners on air who'll go head-to-head for the cash. Both will get tickets, but only one will walk away with 25 grand. So listen up. Here's how you can enter.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Yeah, that's how you can win Oasis tickets and 25 grand. On Early Breakfast this morning, we've been talking about Ruben Amorim, whether he is the problem at Manchester United, whether it's a whole load of things. Ashley, the Man United fan, has called up. Morning, Ashley.
Morning.
I'm right in thinking you don't think Ruben Amorim is the problem at United right now?
I don't think he's the sole problem, no. I haven't been a United fan for near on 25 years. I'm watching the Fergie days, the glory days, and then since. I don't see how a club can go through managers such as Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ten Hag, and still not be successful and it be just solely the manager's problem. I'm not sure if you saw the Rashford interview where he went into detail about the United rebuild, where he feels that the club just don't give the resources and the time to the managers to be able to fully rebuild. I think there's too much control from the board level. And I do feel that Amorim needs to be more flexible with his formation choice and his player choice. And I don't agree with some of his player choices, but I do think the club is in dire straits.
Just quickly on that, Ashley. Yeah, there's definitely way more going on than Ruben Amorim, but as the manager, in the time he's been in charge, do you feel like you've seen any improvement in Manchester United on the pitch since he's... Because we look at managers coming in and they make an impact straight away. Like, surely we should have seen a little bit of improvement, but I'm not sure we have.
And this is where the flexibility needs to come into it, really, isn't it? I don't think we've got the strength to play his system. When you saw him at Sporting Lisbon, he had very good centre-backs that were able to play out from the back. He had good control in centre midfielders, which is that's the area in which I think United have failed during the transfer window.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ashley, thank you so much for calling into Early Breakfast this morning. We're talking about Ruben Amorim, whether he is the problem, what is going to happen. Is he going to still be in charge in a couple of months' time? Can he turn it around? They are, of course, not in Europe, are they? But Arsenal are. The Champions League is back and talkSPORT's coverage kicks off with the early kick-off. Arsenal are away at Athletic Club in Bilbao. David Raya spoke to the media yesterday and, of course, they asked him about this.
That it hurts a lot losing in the semi-final. That's one of the things that you learn, but obviously you get more mature. This is the third year in a row that we are in the Champions League. We were in the Champions League for I think in 2016. I think it was the last time before this period. So we are so happy to be here. We are so happy to play this competition, and we just have to take it game by game. But it's just incredible to be here, basically.
Yeah, that was David Raya talking about what Arsenal learned from losing to PSG in the semi-finals last year. Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent will bring you all the best build-up to talkSPORT 2's early kickoffs, including Athletic Bilbao versus Arsenal this evening at 5:45, with Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle and Man City all in action on the talkSPORT network this week. Get all the team news, previews and reaction first on Champions League Drive. Right, coming up on talkSPORT Breakfast, you've got Reading manager Noel Hunt on the show. Emil Heskey, former Liverpool, Leicester and England striker, will be joining the guys. Andy Brassel looks ahead to tonight's Champions League, and Paddy McGuinness is on the show as well. You've been listening to Early Breakfast with Adrian Flux, insurance for the individual. Find out more at adrianflux.co.uk. Jeff and Ray are on the way.